this webpage, you're going to find lots of videos about how to use Microsoft Teams in the classroom. And you're even going to hear about some of the data I've collected while teaching with Teams over the past 3 years here at the University of Texas Arlington. But before we jump into Praxis and all of the data that I've collected, I think it's important for us to give pause to student voice. Now, what do I mean by that? I think it's important for us to stop and actually ask students what they think about classroom communication and using classroom communication technologies. So let's do that right now.
Hey, my name is Sid Ramani. I'm a junior majoring in information systems, and I will be graduating in May of 2022.
Hi, my name is Allison Manning, and I'm a fine arts student majoring in clay and working towards a minor in technical writing. I'll be graduating this fall 2020.
Hi guys, my name is Seher Budwani and I am a nursing major, psychology technical writing minor student here at UTA, and my projection graduation date is the spring of 2023.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Greer. I'm an English major and a technical writing minor, and I'm really hoping to graduate in December 2021.
Hello, my name is Renee Seyfried. I am an English major, history minor, and my expected graduation date is this December 2020. Most of our professors, they come in with a general rec of knowing how to teach, and they're great teachers. They have all the information they need to teach us, and they know how to, but the ones that stand above most professors are the ones that are great listeners.
I think the best professors have the attitude of, I want you to succeed, I want you to do well, and so I'm going to do my best to help you do that, and part of that is just keeping you updated on everything.
The best professors I've ever had are the ones where the professors outlined from the beginning multiple different methods of communication that students could use throughout the semester. And then they would continue to use them consistently throughout the semester. So this could be email, Teams messages, other forms of chat messages, office hours, but it was all there from the beginning, and every method was being used in a consistent manner from start to finish. So,
I really think a big factor in communication is making sure to keep in touch with students. I do think that it's really helpful when a professor messages the students every single day to remind them oh, we have class today, or oh, we don't have class today, make sure you're getting this done, you have 2 days to do it, or the due date is coming up soon, make sure you're working on it. And when a professor really communicates with their class that much, it makes a student more likely to reach out to that professor if they're confused about anything. So I do think it's really important for professors to communicate with their students basically every day, because I think it's really helpful.
In my opinion, in order to be a good communicator, a professor should use a variety of mediums, including emails and in-person / Microsoft Teams meetings, to engage with their students.
And COVID has hit. A lot of teachers have had to adjust their classrooms to an online setting. This has put a lot of stress on a lot of people. However, it has shown that Teams is actually a really good platform to use in this kind of situation.
But it is still good to reach out via email or Microsoft Teams. I think both of those methods of communication are good. I prefer both of those over Canvas myself, but really, as long as I'm getting the message, it doesn't matter the method so much.
You really just want to make sure that you're keeping in touch with your students and they don't really just go off the rails, only because it will be harder considering the circumstances we're going into for the fall of 2020.
Any form of platform could work, but my thought process is just to have multiple. So you could have email and Teams and Canvas, whatever works best for each method of communication, like emails for dates and Teams for reminders, so that kind of thing. But But I think face-to-face classes should contain a lot of duplicate communication. So like it shouldn't just be in the syllabus, or it shouldn't just be like, we talked about this in class, but then like it doesn't exist anywhere else after that. There should be like reminders about things, especially due dates, should be like communicated like in multiple channels.
For face-to-face classes, there should be some form of communication once a week from the professor's side addressing all the students in the class through either a mass email or a Canvas announcement. It should primarily include 3 things: topics covered in the past week, approaching tests or deadlines for homework, and topics that the class is going to go over in the following week.
I think whether it be face-to-face or in person, it's really important for a teacher to keep in touch with their students every day, only because it's just really hard during an online class because you don't see your teacher every day. And students have a lot of things going on. You know, there's things that have changed due to the circumstances, so I do think it's important for teachers to give their students a little push and let them know that they have these things due and that they're there if they do need help.
In an online class, I think the professor should contact their students at least as often as they would meet in person. So if the class is like a regular credit limit and it would normally meet 2 times a week, then it should be, the professor should communicate to the students like directly at least 2 times a week, and probably more depending on the material that you're talking about.
I think for online and hybrid classes, frequent communication is definitely ideal because there's so many things going on, there's so many changes that pop up. It's really good for the students to be aware of what's going on, and especially for assignments, because the professors, they need to know that their students know what to do. I like Microsoft Teams for online classes because it's easier to just send out a quick message. It's kind of like a text.
For an online class, details like the syllabus, course setup, and grading policies should be included in the how-to video, which talks about how to properly use technology for the class.
I think it's harder, like just in general, to establish like a rapport with students in an online class. So I think the more communication, the better, and that's just the easiest thing for the student, like having that constant connection and feeling like they're getting the same level of connection that they would in a face-to-face class.
I hope you enjoyed hearing from our students. Now, I want to take just a moment to talk to you about some of the takeaways I had after hearing them speak. So there were 5 key takeaways that I had. The first was they were looking for consistency. They want us to be able to have some sort of communication plan that is outlaid at the very beginning of the semester and that we follow through to the end of the semester with, barring some sort of major change or disruption in the course. 2, they were very concerned about the frequency of communication. Now, some students wanted it to be a little more frequently than I think could be possible in a normal 16-week course, which every day seems like a bit much in a 16-week course, though definitely in a compressed 8-week or 4.5-week, every day would be ideal. But you're hearing, I think, at least 3 times a week, which would be the number of times a course would meet if it were Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I think is very important. Basically, what I'm hearing again and again from students is, we want to hear, because when we don't hear, we're scared and we don't know what's going on. So I think that frequency of communication is important to them. 2, something that they said as well was they want instructors who will listen to them, not just talk at them, but will listen to them. So I think practicing some of those active listening skills that we all know is extremely important. Number 4, they're looking to build some sort of community through the communication being provided in the classroom. Now, I think that's vital because it shows that students want more than just the content information. After all, if they just wanted content, they could just go to the internet or LinkedIn Learning or some other wonderful resource to get content information. They're looking for a learning experience, and I think we can provide that to them through the way that we foster communication in our classroom. And lastly, I think you heard over and over again the use of Microsoft Teams, particularly in hybrid and online courses. I've noticed that students feel very comfortable with this modality And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it mirrors a lot of the communication systems that they're already used to using, such as text message and social media. So I think those are some great takeaways. And now what I want to do is to dive into some different options about how we can communicate with students effectively using Microsoft Teams and how to build that community. And I also have data that I've collected over several years that supports the use of Teams in the classroom and why and how I think it is so effective. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those videos.